It goes without saying that there certainly is a crisis when it comes to the education or lack of education pertaining to our children, in our communities, in our states, right here in our entire country. Welcome to EncoreForum's Roundtable Discussion. Tonight I welcome Marlo Shaw. What's going on, Mark?
Yeah, how you doing, Marlo?
So how are you feeling tonight?
Great, glad to be here.
All right, community activist?
Yeah, community activist with SDC in Milwaukee, trying to educate and employ the community.
All right, that's what's up. And we also have LDB. What's up, Loc?
Hey, how y'all doing? How you doing, Marlo? Back once again.
All right, always love to have you here on EncoreForum.
Always want to come.
All right, this is your home, so.
Yeah, phone call away.
All right, and we have new to the panel here tonight is Mr. Il Rock. What's up, Il?
What's up, Marlo? Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
All right. So let's talk about this. The education crisis and the role that hip-hop plays in the Black community. We know it's a crisis, but how bad is this crisis?
Well, Marlo, the crisis is of economic proportions. What we're looking at right now, we're looking at, here in Milwaukee itself, Milwaukee has the second lowest third grade reading level. Our 4th and 8th graders are the lowest in proficiency in the United States. We have the second highest high school dropout rate in the United States, the second highest teen pregnancy rate, which leads to basically drug use and high incarceration here in this country, and especially in Milwaukee. And because of that, we're looking at the fact that 55.3% of the Black men in Milwaukee are unemployed. Because of that, every other Black man you know doesn't have a job, which leads to incarceration and crime and drugs. So it's a crisis for sure. Okay,
it's a crisis, but, what are some of the causes of this crisis? I know you had mentioned a couple of things such as, the education. What is it about the education that's being broken down?
Well, you can look at a number of key factors and things that have changed. You can look at the loss of manufacturing industry and jobs, which led to higher wage incomes in our community. You can look at the infusion of gangs and drugs, which led to 1980s and 90s, which also contributes to that. Because of that, you have the lack of fathers in homes, which perpetuates the cycle of poverty, which also contributes to the lack of education. And because of that, only 12% of Black males in this country are proficient in reading.
So, Ilrock, what do you say?
Well, in relation to hip-hop and being a father of 5 with the lack of education, if you go to a high school in any urban city, and I'm not talking just Black or Mexican or white or just everybody in the school, 75 or 80 or even 90% of those kids all want to be a rapper. They all want to be an NBA basketball player. They all want to play baseball, some kind of professional sport, and it's a crapshoot for these kind of positions when we're older and and adults.
Okay, well, Loc, what do you say?
Well, one, I agree with it all. I think the problem has been here pretty much my whole life. Mm-hmm. I joke sometimes because I had seen, what's my man, Batman Joe Lean on Me, Batman Joe Clark, and that was like in the 80s, and I was made to look at that in junior high school, and they had all these ideas of how they was going to correct the issues, but we're here in 2012, and they're still here. So. But
not only are they still here, it's become worse.
Well, one of the things that the hip-hop music or culture does in terms of its OGs, as y'all call us, look at it. We look at the fact that it contributes to the ebonics. The ebonics that are used in hip-hop and rap music is the vocabulary or the vernacular spoken in the community, which basically does not translate well in English proficiency in schools. Also, with basically the fantasy or dream of basically becoming a hip-hop artist or a star, basically, has these kids basically out of focus. It's cooler not to go to school. It's cooler to basically to drop out, get high, whatever like that, because I'm going to be a rapper one day anyway. I don't need this.
But I think that's a misconception, though, that our children have. Because to be a hip-hop artist, to be a successful hip-hop artist, you have to be intelligent. You have to know what's going on within the communities around the world. You know what I'm saying? When you look at people like Jay-Z, when you look at people like P. Diddy, and I can go on and on and on. These are brothers who have, Lil Wayne has a degree in sociology. Right. Sociology. Yep. So I don't understand where is this breakdown coming from? Why do our children think or believe that they don't have to go to school, even to become a professional player? I mean, to become a professional player, there are proper steps that one has to take. You know, you have to have an education and you have to perfect your craft. Beyond that, then there's another level, and that's college.
Well, the thing is that, yes, sure, Lil Wayne and people of that nature, even the Russell Simmons and whatnot, who try to preach this gospel, yes, they're educated, but that's not what the rappers are singing about. You see. You know,
okay.
You see, it's the thing about rap, which makes it different than any other art form that we have, was that when rap music first came out, it was basically art imitating life, as a reflection of the life these people live. Now we have people imitating art, people trying to live up to the images and music and lyrics that they hear every day. You know, and we're talking about drug dealing and defaming women and things like that. And so that's what's being pounded into these young people's head on a regular basis.
I agree to an extent. And I don't feel we have enough time to really dive into it because actually this can go. But, you know, he's right. A lot of it's not rapped about in school for the songs that's out there, that's put out there. The ones that do probably rap about, you know, conscious rap or going to school or getting a higher education, doing something for the community, you're not going to see MTV putting that on for spins and they're going to say, this is not what the kids want to listen to, but we never groomed the kids to want to listen to that. See what I'm saying? To me, the cycle starts deeper, you know, and you got to break it all the way back down to 1. You can't jump in at number 20 if you've never been through 1 through 19.
Well, what would be 1?
1, I would be the household. For one, starting off in the household, I think it's very important for kids' parents to let them know what's reality and what's not reality. When your parents is living a false sense of reality, that's also a problem too. So, you know, you got the kids looking at, you know, a mother, and I'm not shooting anyone that's probably getting Quest or food stamps or anything like that. But if you are, and you don't really have a higher expectation for yourself to take yourself further, you know what I'm saying? Your kid is seeing that as well. So if this is good for moms and she lived like this and we have fun, then it's good for me. You know, they don't develop that sense of wanting to achieve higher than the parent. So,
or
you know,
if their parent is struggling and going through, oftentimes children are saying, well, I don't want to struggle and I don't want to have to go through X, Y, and Z because I see my parents doing it. So at that present time, it's probably easy for them to say, you know what, well, I'll just sell drugs or I'll join this organization and whatnot. So what can we really say to parents then, you know, as far as to going from 1 to 20? So it starts in the home. What are some other, I don't want to say solutions, but what are some other concerns we have?
You're a young parent.
Right, well, yeah, having 5 children, you know, so I spend a lot of time educating my kids, and it starts with me, and I couldn't agree with Loc more on this, honestly, is talking to the kids. And that's the thing is talk to the children, not just scolding them, reprimanding them for everything that they're doing. Speak to them. Let them know what they're doing. Let them know what they're facing when they leave the house and protect them, you know, at the same time. But just speaking to the kids to me is my biggest at the house.
I agree with that. I just want to add on the end of that too is also sugarcoating our kids. We're always thinking they're too young to be told certain things when these kids are smarter than what we think. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with telling your child, like, hey, you know, it don't make you a bad person because you look down on your luck and explain to them what you're going through and what your plans may be, why they may not see mom because you got to pick up a second job. But, hey, you have a chance to go to school where you can get a degree, and then maybe moms can rest when she's 40 because you done got this great job where you could be making more than I make now at 22, possibly.
Okay, but there is a crisis, of course, within our education system, but there's also a crisis with jobs. So I can hear children probably saying, well, what's the point of going to get a job or getting an education because there's really no jobs out there?
Well, the thing is that, once again, it goes back to what I was talking about, the circle of poverty. It goes to the fact that we have the low reading levels, okay, which leads to the high dropout rate and teen pregnancy rate, which leads to drug use and whatnot, or crimes, which leads to incarceration, which leads to those parents having children of low reading levels, high school dropout rates, teen pregnancies, incarceration. It's difficult for undereducated parents to educate their children. Wow. You see, they don't value education as much just because they don't have it, so they don't see the same thing. See, it used to be a time, you have to realize that one of the reasons why this is a crisis is that Generation X, that's the generation that's born after 1976, is the first generation African Americans to be less educated than their parents.
Wow. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a break. Encore Forum, you don't want to miss any of the discussion. We're also going to offer some solutions. Stay tuned, Encore Forum.